Oh, yes, guys. Welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. I was going to start today's show on the back foot with, it's been a rubbish game week. I want to have a rant. I want to have a moan. But, Dean, there's something slightly different about today's stream because did you just see that holding slide?
No.
Oh, the holding slide before we came live.
I saw it briefly out of the corner of my eye. I didn't really pay any attention to it.
Oh, mate, it's a new one. It's a new, brilliant-looking Chasing Green Arrows holding screen saying stream starting soon. It's a picture of me and Dean both doing that. There's no time or no day. It's very current and up to date.
It could be
So
any time, any day. Yeah, exactly. So it's just as well we've updated that. That's good. Yeah,
Glad
we're
to
no
see you
longer.
noticed, though, mate. It wasn't wasted on you.
No, sorry, I'm paying zero attention. I was like looking away from the screen, thinking, "What am I going to talk about as we open?" And clearly, I wasn't thinking about the right
Let's
thing.
talk about you and your night last night. Did you firstly let us know where you were, but also did you get to watch any of probably the best game the Premier League's ever seen? It was amazing.
Wow. So I was in last night. So the night before that, I was at a football writers' dinner. Yeah. So I missed like the Luton Liverpool game. But yeah, Sunday night I was in Manchester at a dinner, and there's loads of managers basically getting awarded for their achievements for the year, the season before, and Pep Guardiola was supposed to be headlining. And they had all the Man City trophies there, so I was like sat on the table right next to the Premier League and the Champions League and all the rest of it. All four of them were stood there. Pep Guardiola didn't come. He couldn't make it.
Was it in Manchester?
It was in Manchester. Pep Guardiola couldn't make it. Like not even 24 hours after he's just played a game in Manchester. I don't know. I don't know what the situation was. But Eric Ten Hag, bless him, he turned up to talk about winning the Carabao Cup, standing 5 yards away from all of those trophies. I was like, honestly, like, fair play to you for standing there and talking about this as an achievement, because that's not easy to do, and it's quite embarrassing. But he was a really nice guy, actually. He was good, and he hung around for a while. He sat next to Vincent Kompany.
Nice.
Yeah, so those two had a good chat. Paul Heckingbottom was there. Yeah, a few other managers were there.
What was it just the three managers in the league that have had the most defeats in the last how many months?
Yeah, it was gone from the opposite of a celebration to like a funeral, yeah, for their Premier League status. But yes, that was a good night. I caught up with a lot of people and journalists and presenters and stuff. So that was cool. Saw Jules actually, so she was there. Yeah, and then what did I do? Then came back yesterday and was obviously watching that game last night. I don't know if it was a football match. I don't think I can classify that as a football match. Ray, are we agreeing Chelsea v Spurs was the best game this season? It wasn't. No.
Yes.
No.
Ever.
It was the most entertaining thing I've watched all season. That was not a game of football. Like it was like approaching half time, and I was like, "Well, we watched 10 minutes of football." Like, it was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
Mate, there was 9. I think there was 9 VAR calls, and like I don't know,
mate.
4 or 5 of them were for disallowed goals. The other 5 were for red cards.
What are the Premier League doing with VAR? It's like it's something that's used in other leagues, like as an emergency backup to make sure they're getting stuff right. In the Premier League, has become like, we'll just turn it into a TV show. We just keep going to that because that adds a lot of drama to every occasion. That has become extremely annoying. Mark says, yeah, it's marginally better than Newcastle versus Arsenal, which is also great. Yep, that's true. Just want to say, Nicholas Jackson's hat trick.
Come on.
Like, what a muppet that bloke is. The way that he celebrated those goals, I was like, stop now. Like, you can't. Like, fair enough. The first one, okay, you finally got the breakthrough. Fine.
Yeah, the first one was
you've
the
got it.
Goal,
like, you're going to win now.
2-1,
fine.
Yeah.
That's a relief, and you can have a big celebration. The next two, have a bit of self-awareness. Like, you are unmarked in the box for the majority of this match against now 9 men.
Emerson Royale playing centre back.
Emerson Royale's up against you. This goalkeeper is, well, he's playing way better than you are. You've missed chances. Like, okay, you've scored 3 goals. Like,
he still underperformed his XG somehow. His XG was higher than 3 last night, which I don't think I've ever seen.
Mate, and I just found it embarrassing. And I was asked today, I was doing some other work, and they said, "Oh, is this is this the like a platform for Nicholas Jackson? Is this the start? And I was like, it's a false start. This is a false start for Nicholas Jackson. I do not believe in this moment one single bit. I don't believe in Chelsea either. This should have been 2-2. This game should have been 2-2. Tottenham come out of this game performance-wise with so much credit.
No, I've been hearing this all the time, mate.
Mate,
No. The only thing
they
Tottenham
nailed it.
showed was how naive they are.
No, I don't
Bottle
agree.
jobs, naive. Mate, at one, like, Tottenham the better team for the first 10 minutes.
They were that far away from equalising. You're running against 9 men.
Yeah, but
Bentancur gets his body in the
Chelsea
right
could have
place.
had 5 by then. And they did, like, at 1-1, I think the chat's going to agree with you here, Dean. Like, I get it. I've seen it on social. Like, at 1-0, Spurs a better team, first 10 minutes. After that, when it was 11 versus 11, for a good 20 minutes, Chelsea dominating. And yeah, Adoji should have been sent off. Romero should have been sent off. Both were still on the pitch at that time. Chelsea played some really good football, got in some good positions. And yes, against 9 men, of course, they should win. But Spurs had chances and they didn't get the equaliser. And they were playing against like a proper young, inexperienced Chelsea team. So rather than play sensibly, they decided to still persist with the craziest of high lines. This weird sort of, it was like watching AC Milan in the early 90s when they had this crazy offside trap where all the defenders would just run to the player with the ball in hope to catch someone offside. And Sterling and Mudryk and Jackson, 3 average players, often when they get time and space, but rapid players, it just played into their hands. It was naive, I thought.
I didn't think Chelsea dealt with that at all well, to be honest. Like I didn't blame Spurs for taking that approach to it. If that game would have been played for 90 minutes, 11v11, Tottenham would have won 4-1.
I'm
telling you, mate.
I can't comment because you're probably right. You're probably
Tottenham
right.
Looked so good in those early stages. Like I was watching early on, and they were 1-0 up. I was like, how has Ange done this? Like they are so good. The way they move the ball is so good. The way they're on the front foot is so good. And now it's absolutely shot to pieces. We're going to do my notebook session in a minute, and we're going to deal with this. I have no idea how they're going to get through this, but yeah, an incredible game, an amazing moment. Let's just like rewind what feels like about 2 weeks, but I think it's about 3 days, maybe not even that, to Newcastle Arsenal.
Oh, it's VAR looking at somehow that they can get involved. It's like, can we rule it out for this, or this? And then deciding against some of those.
They could have done all of them if they wanted.
Did you see Gary Neville's description of how the ball was out but in on Sky? Oh, I was like, Gary, come on, you've sold out, mate. Like,
I was like, this isn't good.
Are you a football pundit? Like, we just had a really nice sort of strikers workshop on Monday Night Football from Daniel Sturridge, and I'm thinking, yeah, Monday Night Football, this is good quality content. Then we go to Gary Neville pitch side with a football and like there's some shot of the touchline, which isn't quite the same space where the Arsenal Newcastle.
Not the same. Not how the ball was. Not any of the things quite the same. And also, for me, no clarity. Look, they've had an educated guess at whether it was in or out, and that's not the point of VAR.
Yeah.
We had that before. Like, we've had that for the last 100 years of football. We've had educated guesses. Now you've got a bit more education because you can see another video clip of it, but you still can't clarify it.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand. The thing I like about it, I'll be honest, this is what I do like. When VAR came in a few years ago, the big thing was like, oh, it's going to kill football. All the debate's gone out of football now. It's going to be boring.
More than ever.
Wow, yeah, exactly. Like, it's more dramatic than ever. And I do like that you can still get lucky.
Yeah.
You can still get lucky on decisions, which VAR is threatening. That's what the aim is, to take luck out of football. They want to make football perfect.
And they've done that with the offside, haven't they? That kind of is black or white, if they draw the lines right and pick the right player.
Yeah, we're pretty much there with the offside now.
But we're not with handball. We're not with a lot of penalties. We're not with balls going out of play, pushes. And they can go, oh, we're going to stick with the on-field decision. Now, that's fine if the referee is reffing like there's no VAR and but the referee is reffing knowing he's got this backup, knowing that VAR is there. So his on-field decision is already skewed.
Yeah, exactly that. Mark says, not an educated guess, no clear and obvious on the ball being out. but it was out. If you were to get, like, this is the thing, like, what they're looking at showed the ball was out. They didn't have a view that showed that ball was in.
Yeah.
So why are they giving it to be in?
In the World Cup, they did. Do you remember Matoma against Spain? The ball went out, and they actually had, like, I don't know how, like goal line technology. They had it on all the actual lines.
Yeah.
So unless you're seeing that, you can't give it. You can't.
You'd be
say
better
factually.
off. Do you remember the old days when we'd have another assistant referee behind each goal and it'd be like to the side of it? Or whatever,
yeah,
that little thing that they tried. Be better off just having that.
Yeah.
Just employ. Like, we've already got a problem with people not having jobs. Like, we can employ people here. Just stand people. We'll do it. The chasers will do it. Just employ them to stand behind each goal. Just make sure the ball's still on the pitch, and we'll just go with that.
Dom Dewsbury says the circumference of the ball was slightly in, marginally, but the surface was out. But again, that's hard. We don't know the measurements of the ball to go, oh, yeah, there's daylight at the bottom, but it's a sphere. And what about the side of the ball? We don't know.
For me, like, if I was playing football and I see that the actual ball is out, past that line.
Yeah, if there's green.
I've always considered that, I've always considered that the ball's out.
Me too. But that isn't the rule. But yeah.
No, but like all of us, I believe, have played football that way.
Yeah.
So here's the bottom line. No one would have had a problem with that goal being ruled out and saying the ball's gone out.
And I don't think Newcastle would have had a massive problem.
Newcastle would have been like, fair enough.
Yeah.
They'd have had to get on with it. And they couldn't have proved it to be otherwise, because we're still struggling to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the weirdest thing about it, is that they've gone against the logical decision that would have kept everybody happy, really.
And then the push, and then the offside they looked at, but they didn't look at the handball as well, because there was four things they could have done. Yeah. So look, I mean, I was invested in this because I'm a Gabriel owner, and I think Gabriel could have got bonus points as well. But Gordon, fair to play. All those that wildcarded around game week 10 when I did, a lot went Gordon. I think Ali Yahangarov might have. Oh no, he went Almiron. But look, that Newcastle attack is decent. They're scoring goals, including against Arsenal. They're keeping clean sheets too. Like, I think we all thought Arsenal would get a goal at St James's, but again, even with their injuries, Newcastle keeping clean sheets. Now they've got Dan Burn out for a couple of months. We know that Botman is out and Eddie Howe's being pretty coy on his return. So again, that could be more than weeks. So you look at that first choice back four. Lascelles is in, but playing well. We're probably going to see either Livramento or Hall as a permanent fixture. I think it'll be Livramento right back, Trippier left back, which again will affect Trippier's output. Will this turn us away from Newcastle defence? I don't know if it will. It just feels like this is a defence that performs no matter who plays.
Yeah, I'm tempted to go there because there's a bit of value.
Livramento is 4.3. 4.3.
I couldn't believe it when I looked at that this morning. Yeah, that is a value pick. He's a great player. And this is the thing. Like, Newcastle, when they went in and got Lewis Hall and Livramento, and, they're threatening to throw a lot of money around on players that you could say are unproven at this level. Well, they know what they're capable of. And they're long-term signings. But the idea was that if a crisis comes along, they've got top level players that can step in and start to prove themselves. And that's what you got now at Newcastle. I'll tell you what, let's go to the notebook, because I want to go back to Tottenham in a second.
Yeah, I look forward to this. Jürgen. There we go.
Yeah,
what you got
for
us, Dean?
Full start. Well, I went to Man United with Fulham, obviously, on Saturday.
You're robbed, weren't you?
I think robbed is a bit generous to us, but
but United, that's what passionate football fans do. They, over in
United.
You're right. A draw would have been a fair result.
A draw probably would, but I mean, look, they had a goal ruled out for offside that we got a bit lucky with. I mean, I couldn't believe that. We got a 4-minute VAR check on that one. At least we got to celebrate something, because that was ruled out. And then obviously they go and score right at the end. That was so good from Bruno Fernandes. That dummy to cut back onto his right foot.
Annoying.
Even sold me on the replay. Like, I was still going that way. No one of the Fulham defenders did. We just couldn't hold out in the end, and it was a real shame because I thought we'd done enough to just get a point. A point for us against Man United, obviously a good result. There wasn't a lot between the two teams, to be honest with you. Man United, I don't know what you can read into it. They weren't that good. They've scored another late goal that gets them out of jail. They live to fight another day.
And if you got Bruno, you hold him in FPL. But that's
100%.
That's about it, though.
I was going to say, mate, if anything, it swayed me watching that game to realise why people own Bruno.
Yeah.
But
Bruno only, right? Not Rash.
Yeah, I mean, Rash obviously didn't play in that game, and I don't really know what's going on with him at the moment, whether he's injured or not. But Bruno Fernandes, I overheard a conversation actually on the train home from some Man United fans, and they were saying they obviously love Bruno, Man United fans. Everyone else, every other fan base hates him, but United fans obviously love him. And they said, "Do you know what it is about Bruno? He's the only player from this team that would get in all of our great teams. He would fit in.
Yeah.
He's the only player with the playing traits and the mentality that ever would have fitted in with any of our successful teams." And I was like, that is actually a very good point. Like, he is a brilliant player. He's annoying and horrible, which Man United's players have typically been if they've had success. And he can come up with the key moment. Yeah, 1974 says Bruno is United currently. And yeah, I think that's fair. Dean is always much more even-handed with Fulham than with some of the top teams. I don't know what that means. But yeah, I just feel like Bruno is, dare I say, a good asset? I think so.
Yeah, I think he probably is. And
look, because if they're going to get through this spell, he's one of the only dependable factors. And it was him as well. Like when they actually did score this allowed goal, it was his cross to the far post that opened that up. He just seems to always be involved in something good that happens.
Yeah, and he's always going to play 90 every week. And when we head towards Christmas, we want those 90-minute men. He's got Luton up next at home. Like, you could argue Bruno is a legit captaincy option this week. He is. Everton away, Newcastle away, Chelsea at home after that. It isn't easy, but this week especially could hold him. I think you hold him. I don't think you buy, but you could hold him.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't buy. I mean, no, I don't think I'd buy. I don't think I'd be that. He's Luton. I might. I'll tell you what. If I was to buy any Man United player, I was to have one of their better players, I would get Bruno in.
Yeah.
What I would do, I was going to say, is two big performances that came in off of it, and there's value to be had in one of them, maybe not so much in the other. But Pellistri came on, and was the difference really. Like he's 4.4 million, and I think we might be getting to a time when he actually gets some chances. So if you're looking to like just pad out your squad and you want someone that might figure over this spell, and with Anthony playing terribly, Pellistri came in and caused far more problems to Fulham. And knowing they've got games like this Luton one coming up, I'm not saying he'll start that, but seeing what he did to Fulham coming off the bench wouldn't surprise me at all if he had the same impact against Luton off the bench and might be able to do something. So I think at 4.4 million, if you're looking for just a cheap option as your midfielder, there's a reason to go there. And not saying pick this guy, but just as an eye test, Mason Mount came on and had his best game I've seen him have in like probably
Good.
He played really well and actually caused Fulham quite a lot of problems.
Oh, that's interesting because on TV I thought he looked all right, but I didn't know. Yeah. Okay,
yeah, the positions and the passes that he was picking out.
I like that outside the boot pass he made for the middle out wide.
Yeah, I get like quite, because I'm a bit higher up, I get like quite a good view of like, especially like the midfield. I get like when they're shooting that way, you get to see exactly almost what they're seeing, and like when they scan in and stuff, what decisions they're making. And Mount made the right decision.
Mason. I'd love to see him. Even though I hate United, I'd love to see him be a success there because I think
because he's had a lot of shit over the last like year basically, and I think he deserves that.
Maguire as well, Dean. Final one in United, 4.2 million, 7 points.
4.2 million.
And he's starting like he's clearly now
ahead of a fair few. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, he's now ahead of Lindelof and even Varane at the weekend. So I think Maguire's looking good for the festive period, and he's always offering a goal threat. He should have been off with concussion, but look absolutely at Maguire if you're looking for a cheap defender. 4.2, nice 7 points for those that owned him.
Yeah, I mean, the way he's going, he might win Player of the Year at Man United this season. So people think he's going to leave in January. There's absolutely no chance he's going to be going.
I tweeted that Onana's been United's best player in the last few weeks, and I stand by that. And the amount of comments being like, Onana's rubbish. I'm like, Maguire and Onana, like you've needed without those two, you lost a ton of games. So let's move away from
let's go away from that
and
game.
go to Spurs because there's big injuries, isn't there? You've looked at Maddison, Van der Ven. I mean, these guys Van der Ven's gonna be out. It's a hamstring, so you'd think 4 weeks ish. And Maddison, I don't know if we know too much about, but he's not going to play this weekend.
He's not going to play the next game, is he? So we've got
Richarlison's out as well.
We've got big decisions to make. I've got 2 of those 3 players in my team at the moment. I mean, I don't know if I can continue with my team now, unfortunately. I had this, great plan to wild card in December. Oh, yeah. I literally don't know if I can get a team out anymore, even if I make a transfer, because this team has been absolutely shot to pieces because of what's happened at the weekend.
I can't wait to see your team later. Stay tuned for that one, guys. We're going to see Flag Central.
It really is going to be Flag Central. But yeah, Tottenham, bear in mind, so they didn't have these players on the pitch last night and still gave Chelsea a hell of a game. Like, okay, it's 4-1, but that is a late flurry of goals that have killed the game off. And that makes me believe that actually Tottenham can be trusted, like especially the next 2 games, Wolves away, Aston Villa at home. I'm going to give Tottenham the benefit of the doubt that they can get through this, but we've got to dig into their squad a little bit more and find the assets that might provide us some value. Yeah, that might fit with that. So,
I've just looked on the FPL site. When you look at their defenders, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 defenders listed. There are red flags on 6 of them.
We've got our team.
One of them's someone called Phillips. I don't even know who Phillips is. Ashley Phillips.
Ashley Phillips, yeah. Ashley Phillips.
Ashley Phillips, Dyer, Pedro Porro, and Emerson Royale. So 2 of them are right backs. Phillips and Dyer are the only 4 defenders unflagged for the weekend.
Yeah, honestly, we are going to see Ashley Phillips play. We're going to see Eric Dyer play, and we're going to see Emerson Royale play. Now,
might buy some Wolves players.
But what about Emerson at 4.4?
Nah, I couldn't. I think Aston Villa. I think Ollie Watkins for that Spurs fixture is going to have loads of fun.
I don't know.
I think we can still go. Let's buy Spurs attackers. Like I've seen some in the chat say looking at Brennan Johnson's 5.8 million, but Spurs are going to concede big and score big in the next few weeks. I reckon.
Yeah, I mean there is definitely logic to suggest that. I understand it, but it'll be interesting. I don't know if I'm brave enough to pick one of these random Tottenham defenders for the next game, but if somehow they've kept a clean sheet and don't forget, Ange has performed absolute miracles since he came through the door. And he's had an effect on players. If you just look at their team now and you've got Pape Matar and you've got Bissouma playing at levels we didn't think they were capable of anymore, to be quite frank.
They've been amazing.
So who knows? Who knows what?
If you're on wildcard, you can take those punts because they're all free transfers. So you could go Dyer for 3 weeks, but if you're not on a wildcard, you're not going to go and buy a Spurs player for 4.0, because they're only going to pay 1 or 2. But you can on wildcard, you can have loads of fun with that.
That's why this might work to my benefit. Not using this wildcard, it hasn't worked out very well so far. But I imagine people that wildcarded 2 weeks ago haven't had a great time since then, to be honest with you. It's not gone the way that most people suspected. And now people, if you had these Spurs assets, are suddenly struggling to make things up. And there's Haaland's got a knock and all the rest of it. So it's a really difficult time. If you look towards the Tottenham midfield, then James Maddison obviously flagged.
There's no other Maddison in the squad, is there?
There's not another Maddison in the squad for sure. Kulusevski obviously at 7 million is a potential.
And he does always get 90 minutes. Kulu's a fantastic option. Ange loves Kulusevski. Always gets 90. Obviously, he didn't last night, but before that, he's pretty much played 90 every week, other than an 87, an 85, and an 89. Yeah,
that's interesting. I mean, it's 7 million Kulusevski. It's slightly off-putting, I think. But I can understand why people go there. Johnson, I think, is a really good player, but he's 5.8, which is even a fair price. I don't know. I'd be brave enough to go there.
He could play Bentancur, couldn't he, in that Maddison role? Because he is formerly a 10, and for Uruguay, we've seen him play there. He could come into... Because Maddison's meant to be the kind of number 10 with 2 behind him. And Bentancur, probably the most natural in that squad. Lo Celso's there, but he doesn't play.
No, Lo Celso is the only one I was going to say. Like potentially, if somebody's else is going to come in from outside of the obvious, then Lo Celso at 4.8, maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. They've also got a player called Jamie Donnelly, who's a youngster who is typically a striker, but he could also play like a 10 type role. He's been on the bench recently. A couple of times he's been on the bench. He's been around. They love him at Tottenham, and they've got really high aspirations of him. So again, not an FPL pick right now, but they've got a lad called Jamie Donnelly, who I imagine is a 4.5 attacker in this game.
He is 4.5 attacker. Their attackers for FPL are Donnelly and Veliz.
Yeah. Veliz, they bought in the summer, and they've got high hopes for him. He's we'll see more of Veliz in the second half of this season. The reason they might not sign a striker is because of Veliz and Donnelly, basically, because they're two young, really highly rated players that they hope can actually save them some money. So
they said the same about Dane Scarlett. What happened to him?
Yeah, he's out on loan, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, I believe so.
So let's watch this space for Spurs, because I mean, some in the chat have said, will they keep scoring if Maddison's not there? And that maybe affects Son, but just by default of the way Postecoglou team's set up, sure, the cogs are important and Maddison's class, but they'll be encouraged to attack regardless. I think Spurs will continue to score.
Would you be tempted to get rid of Tottenham assets? Someone asked a minute ago about Porro to Saliba as a potential transfer for the week.
I think I would be tempted on the Spurs defenders. I think Son, you're very happy with. Like, even last night, like that finish from Son for that offside goal at 1-0 up, like, he's electric. He's such a good number 9. Like, I know, and Carragher said about Spurs needing a 9 because, Son's, naturally a wide man. I don't know if Son is anymore. I don't know if Son's best position is out wide. I think Son, we know he's arguably the best finisher in the league, and I even include above Haaland in that in terms of overperforming his XG, number 1. Like, Son is their number 9.
And he is beating himself up still, you can guarantee, about the fact he didn't score. It wasn't an easy chance. Like, it wasn't easy to score that goal. Like, I thought he did really well, and I was disappointed he didn't score. But like, you could see obviously Chelsea went straight up the other end and scored.
Close to tears that he missed that.
You'd have thought he'd missed like a sitter or a penalty.
He's the only player in the whole entire league on that chance. 4 times out of 5, you expect him to score. I think even Haaland, you expect 50% of the time. That's a 78% for Son.
He's so good at those, and he sets himself such high standards.
Good save.
Alejandro says Son doesn't have the energy to play as the winger, but he's fast and agile. I'll tell you what, Son doesn't have the energy. Like, imagine how much energy he exerted last night playing that
pressing alone.
Pressing, and he was properly pressing.
Yeah,
like there was a spell late in the second half.
Buzzing round.
And like, and I saw like Son chase someone down from there, and someone came in from there. I was like, I can't believe they're still doing this. I can't believe they are this like well programmed now, that this is how they're closing down 70 minutes into a game when they're like backs against the wall. Most teams would just be sat off trying to like defend the inevitable, and Tottenham fully go for it. So I kind of understand what you're saying, Alejandro, about his energy on the wings, but Son honestly is probably one of the fittest players in this league.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. He has elite acceleration, says big tips. Guys, we're loving all your comments in the chat. Hello to all our chasers. Too much to get through to name check you all, but we'll bring some up on screen sporadically. And always, guys, if you fancy supporting the channel by liking and subscribing, that would be amazing. But look, we've still got to see our teams. We've got to see your team, the chaser team, and we've got to talk about some bonus beasts and answer your questions. So without further ado, let's move on to Pimp My Team. Guys, just a secondary reminder there. When we say hit the like button, we mean it. Come on, let's see those numbers tick. We got to get to 100. Got to get to 100. It's our new thing. Dean, this is the Chaser 11. When Haaland blanked, the first thing I thought of was at least that's good for the Chasers.
Yeah. I saw someone mention earlier, like, I'm taking credit for the fact we haven't got Haaland. And you haven't got Haaland, but you did have Darwin as captain. And That ain't a good backup
31
plan.
feels like a win though this week.
31 is a good score. This
Gordon's
game,
7 is annoying.
as it sounds. Yeah, that is very annoying. No output from Saka. Obviously got unlucky on Son. I mean, look at all those attacking players and look at their output across this game week. You just got to put that down to bad luck. Like
Alvarez played, Alvarez. How many goals did Man City score? 5, 6.
They got 6 goals, and Alvarez has come out with 2 points. So I think this is extremely unfortunate, especially the Gordon 7 points on the bench. 31 is a good story in itself, but yeah.
What about the Salah-Darwin combo? A few times that could have come in for a goal. Like the big chance at the end Darwin missed where Salah just tees him up with the little cushioned header. Like, think about that swing, because Darwin's our captain here. Salah assist, probably bonus points for Darwin. That would have been massive. I would go so far as to say the Chasers made the right call on captaincy. From all the players this game week, Darwin was the guy that should have had the biggest haul.
Yeah. I mean,
3 big chances.
Darwin's going to Darwin. And I've acknowledged his improvements, and he is the most improved player in FPL in the Premier League. But unfortunately, we saw there that he's still at times a little bit blind to where the goal is. And I honestly, like, I try to defend strikers as much as possible and like give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't really know how he's missed that. I don't know if he's...
Carragher and Sturridge spoke about his style. Like, his go-to finish is kind of one where I think, as Sturridge said, he tries to smash the leather off it. And he does. He doesn't really have a cushioned finish in his locker. Why? And when you have that style of smash the leather off a ball to score, I think the player they used as an example was Alan Shearer. He was the only player that could always smash it and find the target. But most players that smash it, it's over and wide a lot. And we see that with Darwin. It's over and wide a ton. Yeah,
it was just a strange finish. It just seemed like harder to stick over the bar than it was to stick it in the net. But yeah, next game, Brentford at home.
Yeah.
Not an easy fixture, because obviously Brentford, we still look at Brentford on paper and think, oh, it's Brentford. Like that should be a home win. But
they turn up, don't they, Brentford?
They turn up.
The big teams. I feel like they've given it, like, have they given Man City problems at the Etihad in the last few seasons, I think? Like, they feel like they're a team that big clubs don't like to play against.
Yeah, I think that's true. Would you have faith in Darwin starting that game?
Yeah, I would. But the week after, game week 13, is off the back of the international break, and Liverpool the early kickoff. And what does Klopp do when Liverpool early kickoff and Darwin's been in South America?
Ain't playing, is he?
Doesn't play him. So does he prep for that and therefore want to see someone else number 9 against Brentford?
Week after that, he's got Fulham at home, so he's destined to score goals in that one. But yeah, it's a tough call. But I just saw a comment a minute ago. Let's see if I can grab it. Dom Dewsbury, Gakpo should start against Brentford. If he doesn't, I'd be very surprised. Klopp has belief in him, though.
Well, I want to buy Darwin in FPL, but I don't know when, because I can't buy him this week because he has Man City the week after, where I think he'll be benched. And then you mentioned the Fulham game, Dean. I think that's like on a Sunday, but then there's a midweek round of Premier League fixtures on the Tuesday, Wednesday. So Darwin plays Sunday, Wednesday. And again, he's the sort of player, historically, when Liverpool are playing twice a week, when they're in Europe, they are this season, Darwin often is in and out. Like, he's not the sort of striker that Klopp plays twice a week. He rotates. So again, I'm like, even for the good FPL fixtures from game week 14, 15, does he start on both? I don't know if he does. Leo is good at saying, I'm going to buy Darwin game week 14, but just check out the schedule and go, does he play on the Wednesday night after the Fulham game? I'm not sure he does.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. Liverpool, hard one to read at the moment. They really are. They've played extremely well at times. They're also flat to deceive a little bit at times. I didn't see the whole of this game, but from what I did see and what I've read, Szoboszlai didn't really turn up for this one, which is the first time, really, I think, since he signed. He hasn't put in a strong performance, so that's quite interesting. The fact they've had to dig in deep to grab a point against Luton isn't a fantastic sign.
Simicast benched as well.
Yeah, but
Luton's physical and height, like, I get it. I think Simicast's still going to be playing.
Joe Gomez, what do you think? Like,
It's lopsided, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
you need. It's the way Liverpool play, especially with Trent inverting. You need that outlet down the left on the left foot of Robbo and Tsimikas. And I think the Gomez experiment was tried and probably failed. And I think with the fixtures Liverpool have coming up in the Premier League, there are fixtures where Tsimikas will be given the nod again off the back of a disappointing display against Luton. So I think we're good. I think we're good as Tsimikas owners. Don't be too worried about that this weekend. If he's benched against Brentford, then obviously he's potentially a sell. But I think we're fine. Dean, let's have a look at our teams because we've got 20 minutes left, and I've realised we got to give good time to both our teams to get our early thoughts. So, what are your early thoughts with this team? Because you got a Doji suspension. How long's he out for? It's just one game. It's 2 yellows, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like a Doji, I've got Maddison now. Haaland's flagged now. Look at Archer on the bench with 9
Haaland
points.
did train, which is good, ahead of the Champions League game. So we will know about Haaland.
Yeah, so we'll see more on Haaland. But Gusto, obviously, is a player I was already looking to get rid of. Baldock's actually come into the team, which, like, you can tell how bad things got. Luckily, Onana did end up keeping a clean sheet against Fulham because
it's a good score.
It's fine, yeah. I mean, it's below average, 25, but not by that far, which is remarkable. But yeah, I'm looking at this team and I want to make 5 or 6 changes because I'm not in a good position already, and I just feel I'm just going to fall too far off it. And if I wild card well, then it can make a massive difference. And at a moment when everybody else might be reeling a little bit from the fact that Tottenham, for example, are rocked by these injuries, it might give me an opportunity to make up some ground. Like, I don't want Martinelli anymore. Andreas, this experiment that I've tried of switching up this 5-point whatever midfielder hasn't worked because they've all been rubbish. Baldock, that he can be a filler, I guess, fine. But even Archer is like that first sub. That's going to get annoying because there are going to be games when he does this, and I haven't picked him. Yeah, I'd almost rather not have it.
You were close to starting him this week as well.
It was him and Andreas.
I think I persuaded you to Andreas because I was like, mate, you're there. He's against his old club.
It was against Man United.
And then Archer was dropped the week before. I think I remember saying to you, like, Brewster started and he went with Brewster and Archer this time round, and it worked. But
the manner of his goal, I mean, and Jordan Archer's goal was ridiculous.
Oh, I've not seen it yet. I heard it was.
It's a rocket, absolute rocket. So yeah, that was a bit disheartening, but yeah.
Do you think you're wild card then?
I think there's a high chance that I'm gonna have to give up on my plan to wild card later in the year and wild card this week. So Friday's show might be
Dean's wild card team reveal.
It might be.
I love that. Well, if you do, the teams still to target are similar to some that I think I went big on. Liverpool definitely have the fixture run. I still think you want an Arsenal attacker because this week it's Burnley. You could even go double Arsenal. You could go Martinelli and Saka and then have a plan to offload one straight away. You're only going to have one Spurs and it's probably going to be Son, I guess. And then, goalkeepers are an interesting one on wildcard. I still think David Raya, Arteta is persisting with this. He's 4.8 million, and the Arsenal, the best 3 defences in the league by country mile are Man City, Arsenal, and Newcastle. So I still think target those defences. So it will be interesting to see your wildcard on Friday, mate. Look forward to that one.
Yeah, thanks, mate. A lot of work to do in this dressing room, I'll tell you that much.
Let's move on to my team. Your goalkeepers, by the way, there's now the new number 1 at Nottingham Forest, 4.5 million though. And Strakosha came on in the second half for Brentford. So I wonder if Flecken is out, then Strakosha's 3.9 million. And you'll see I've got him there on my bench. He could rotate and come in for a few weeks for me because Brentford are a better team than West Ham at the moment, I think, defensively. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think Brentford have got 2 tricky games now and then a really good run. So I'm hoping Strakosha has that number 1 spot for a while. I don't know about Flecken's injury. Defence, Matty Cash is apparently fine, but keep your eyes on press conferences. Again, Villa will play on Thursday, so we can check that one out. Aston Villa were disappointing against Forest. Like, Diaby and Watkins both to blank. And it just made me think, am I too big on Aston Villa attack? But it's hard to sell again this week because they've got a good fixture. Like Aston Villa this week, that they've got the home advantage. We like that. And they play. They've got a good game. Is it Fulham?
Who's this?
Villa. Yeah.
No. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it on
Fulham game
Sunday?
week 12.
It's
Sunday.
Sunday already. Oh, blimey. Yeah, we are. Yeah, Villa Fulham is
So I'm
Sunday.
like, I
Yeah.
can't sell DRB Watkins for that. But I have
No.
2 free transfers. And what I do with this squad is going to be, well, difficult. I don't know. And interesting there, Mark. Thank you. Dead leg. So we'll see. I don't know. 2 free transfers. I'm happy with my team. But do I want to lose a transfer? I genuinely am not sure where I'm going to make it. I did plan on maybe going Nketiah in for a week or two, but
No.
I can't now.
But
They
no.
were so disappointing versus Newcastle, and Nketiah's bad against West Ham in the Carabao before that. So there's a chance I lose my transfer and continue just with 2 transfers for the week after.
Yeah, tricky one. Saka, I guess you keep faith in him just because of the fixtures, but
yeah. I could captain him this week, Saka, because of the fixture. Like, captain this week, I'm not going to go Haaland away to Chelsea when there's 3 good, 4 good options at home. Like, you could captain Saka, you could captain Salah, although I don't like backing against Brentford. I could even go rogue and go Matoma versus Sheffield United at home. Why not? Like,
yeah, you could, yeah.
I don't know. And then in Aston Villa fixture, I still think Watkins versus Fulham's a nice game. So I've no idea what I'll do with captaincy, but I don't think it'll be Haaland.
Yeah, it's. I don't think it will be Haaland. No, I don't think this is probably going to be the one that works out for him. I was looking when I was thinking about what I will do in my team. I tell you what, Jarrod Bowen is definitely like something. Like it's something. West Ham aren't doing well, but he seems to not be affected by whatever's going on.
You're right.
This record he's just set for away games, obviously good, but he's got Nottingham Forest at home. Then West Ham have got Burnley, Crystal Palace. They've also got Fulham and Wolves coming up. Like West Ham are coming into a spell of games, which is really important to them because David Moyes, if he's going to stay at West Ham, he has to do well between now and the new year to have any chance of getting a new contract. Otherwise, they're going to start moving on and thinking about who comes in at the end of the season. So, Jarrod Bowen, I honestly think he'll be a consideration for my wild card.
Would you save 0.9 and go Kudus instead?
Yeah, possibly, but
because they are both fine, aren't they?
They are. I mean, Bowen's just got the FPL pedigree, I guess, of like, I just trust him a bit more. Kudus is a better footballer, like generally, like he's going to probably have a higher ceiling in his career than what Jarrod Bowen will have. But I also feel like Kudus, I was told by someone at West Ham they expect him to be inconsistent in this first season here.
Yeah.
Because it's so different. He's going to be playing different positions. He won't always start. And so, well, yeah, if this was like my actual real life football team, I'd rather have Kudus, but I think Bowen will probably be a bit more reliable for me.
Just looking where they played, because Chatsport says Kudus striker, well, he could play, but just so you know, against Brentford, it was a front 3 of Antonio, Bowen, and Kudus, and Kudus was the widest. He was wide right, and Bowen was fairly central, and Antonio obviously was. So I would. He's super attacking. We know. I mean, that.
Antonio shouldn't be playing, but David
I don't know
Moyes
if he'll continue. Will he?
Moyes loves him, mate. He absolutely loves him. Moyes will give him a new contract tomorrow if he could. Like he'll build a team around Antonio.
Yeah, and he didn't like Scamacca, who I think is brilliant, and I really rate Scamacca, who's really playing really well now.
Yeah. Good question from Nick for you. I think you tempted by Doku.
I'm always tempted by Man City attackers. That's why I've had such a love-in with Foden, because I just like the upside you get. And I think that's such a good attack that having Haaland alone, I say this all the time, it's just not enough, which is why Alvarez and Foden. But yeah, I mean, Doku's cheapest of the lot, like 6.6 million. The fear is, does he start each week?
Has he just peaked?
Yeah. It's going to be so fixture dependent because Pep's got this whole control thing, where he likes the way Grealish and Silva play out wide, where they keep possession and they allow spaces for others. Doku is a bit like Foden on the other side, but even more so, more Sane and Sterling from years gone by. Run at them, be explosive, get cutbacks for Haaland, and just go out there and express yourself. Like, there's not much discipline to Doku's game, which I don't think Pep would like in the big games. But when they're playing Bournemouth, yeah, you're going to get the nod. But then when you're playing Man United the week before that, you're benched. And he's got Chelsea up next. So it's difficult because Chelsea aren't evaluated by Pep like perhaps they used to be. So he could start that one, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him benched. And then he's got Liverpool at home. Again, could be benched. Spurs, Villa, Luton, Palace after that, you expect 3 out of 4 starts, but you're still looking at the team sheet each week. But then if he does start, you're getting big returns. So I think I'll wait till the fixtures are really there. Like game week 16, he's got Luton. Game week 17, Palace. I think he starts those 2 games and you might just take a punt. But I will be targeting the fixtures with Doku. 1, because the ceiling is higher. But 2, I actually think he's more likely to play in the easier fixtures.
Yeah, obviously City play tonight against Young Boys, and I'm split on what Pep would do there, because I would personally, I think most people would be tempted to stick with the momentum, stick Doku out there again. Young Boys, a team you can potentially batter as well.
No.
Just give him another game where he can get a couple of assists or goals and keep it going. But knowing City, he'll just completely change it up, won't he? And we'll see a totally different format.
I'm looking at his starts. So he started his Premier League starts this season. Fulham, like they saw that as winnable for sure. West Ham, okay, still. He started against Wolves, started against Forest, didn't start against Arsenal, and he didn't start against Man United. The 2 trickiest games on paper this season, when he was from game week 3 onwards, which is when he started playing for City, didn't play. He did play against Brighton, but the 2 biggest ones he didn't.
Well, that's just a different game management, isn't it? That's the thing. And it's a different possession level, different type of possession, even when you've got it. So also the way that they expose teams will be different in those matches as well. Eventually it will change, though. I don't believe that will continue for too long, because Doku is more than capable of going up against the best teams in this league.
Yeah, I agreed with you on that one. Definitely one to be keeping an eye on, guys, especially around that Luton fixture in 14. Just remember, City do blank, or was it 16? City do blank in game week 18. So Club World Cup, the City-Brentford fixture in 18 won't go ahead, but you could get them 16, 17, blank in 18. Then in 19, it's Everton and Sheffield United in 20, which should be part of a double. The double is forecast by the experts that do the fixtures, predictions, that in game week 20, it'll be Sheffield United and Brentford. I think both are home fixtures. What a double game week that will be for Man City. So for those that have a wild card closer to Christmas, you might want to target those fixtures. Guys, thank you so much for all watching. We've still got another 10 minutes to go. Stay with us. Get your questions in as well. We would love to get to 100 likes though, guys. So please do hit the button. And obviously you're all subscribing. But if you're not, make sure you subscribe. Let's have a look now at some of the bonus point beasts in FPL tips and chips. Here we go. Just wanted to pick out a couple of players in the weekend. Like this guy, we don't often look at Forest defenders, but when they play at home, they keep clean sheets. Now, because we've owned Matt Turner, who now isn't the number 1, we don't think moving forward, we haven't really ever looked at Nottingham Forest defenders. Now, there are a few good options at the back. Whether or not Toffolo is the best one, I'm still not sure and haven't looked at them enough. But this guy did clock 2 assists. He went off, I think, with an injury. But usually, Toffolo is someone that will play 90 minutes. He went off at 70. Certainly, that he's been starting, I think, for Forest since game week 7, 8 onwards. A couple of assists, but there are other options in that back line. This was more just a highlight. Forest defence, when they play home, when the fixtures are good, probably needs to be taken a little bit more serious. Like, there are other options in that team. Like, I like Aina a lot, who again started. He's 0.1% owned. Like, the Forest defenders are all either 4.5 million or less. And the fixtures, they're not too bad. They're probably middling. They've got West Ham, Brighton, then it's Everton, Fulham, Wolves. In fact, for Forest, it's probably quite a good run.
Yeah.
So worth noting. I was really surprised with that result, Dean. But then when I saw it, I was like, that kind of makes sense because Forest are good at home. They could close a Villa out.
Yeah, you did forget. I mean, no, I definitely didn't expect Villa to lose, but yeah, I mean, it's a strange performance. It's just the thing about this league, and when we're pricking our team every week, there's always 2 or 3 matches that don't go anything like the way we're expecting. Yeah. And also, actually, one of the things I'm thinking of when I come to my wild card is like just picking a few players that aren't in the obvious teams, like having a Nottingham Forest asset, having a Wolves player or something, just so like there's something that offsets the bad weeks for the big teams, because like I think that's where these bad scores come from, because we just don't balance our teams out across the entirety of the league, and that's typically because we don't trust them, and I get that. But I don't think this is a season where there's any pattern to show that we can trust anyone. So why not make it a bit more open?
Yeah, FPL Cortex says they've kept one clean sheet at home this season in the Premier League. And you're right, they have. But last season, I think they were definitely top 3 best home defences in the Premier League last season. It's the same group of core players. It's the same manager. And they've just kept a clean sheet against one of the best attacking teams in the league. So I'm going for that to change. But yeah, they have conceded single goals at home this season to the likes of Sheffield United and Burnley. They conceded 2 to Luton as well. But no, I think moving forward, we can probably start to bank on home clean sheets again because we know historically they do that.
Jonathan panicked me there. He said there's no sound, but
me too.
Luckily, a couple of people have responded quickly to say it's working fine. So I think he's probably on mute or something.
Let's have a look at our next bonus piece because I think I gave 2, and Toffolo's not a sexy one. We get that, but fair play, 2 assists, clean sheet. Who else have we got? Let's have a look. I think we got one more.
Okay, you doing that one?
Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. I was on the wrong screen. I forgot we had Doku coming up. Yeah, I mean, the fixtures aren't great, but they don't need to be for Man City. We just need starts. And the big Willy won't-y over those tough fixtures, I think, still applies. But, I mean, I can't remember a BPS total of a midfielder clocking 82. And look at that average position map. Like, number 19 there is Alvarez, who plays, we know, just off Haaland. But he's as high as Alvarez. Loads of touches on the edge of the area, in and around the box. It's just exciting. The left back there is always going to be Ake, number 6 on the halfway line, or Gvardiol. They're not really encouraged to go forward. Like, sure, they'll step into the second half, but they're not going to be getting penalty area touches and overlapping. And with that in mind, the responsibility of a Doku is to be completely that outlet. Fun own. And I think I could go there around that Luton fixture.
Yeah, I mean, 22 points he's just racked up. Last game week, I'm sure someone somewhere had him captain, so that would have been fun if
someone triple captained him, mate. I saw someone triple captained him.
There's always someone. There's always someone somewhere. Chatsport says he's a breath of fresh air, a real winger. And this is something, right? We've seen the trends that Pep has set in motion across the Premier League since he landed. Everyone loves to copy him.
Yeah.
There is nothing better in football than traditional wingers. Like, bring it back, Pep. Bring it back. Make everyone bring back proper wingers who have a go at people and get past them and are willing to put in crosses and are willing to make stuff happen. This is what I want. I think the initial expectation around Doku is that Pep knocks his natural instincts out of his game and says, okay, you can do it here and there, but generally, can you start playing like this, please?
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't. Because I want more people. Imagine in academies right now, how many like talents there are that are like wide players who have been playing in playgrounds and the streets at 5-a-side, wherever. And like, what do you love to do when you're like growing up as a kid? You love running at people with the ball, getting past them, scoring goals. And then you get to like senior football and it's knocked out of you, not allowed to do it anymore. Pep has a chance to change everything.
So too many people are now copying me. Let's go back to another of my
let everyone else do this silly inverted fullback thing that I came up with. And now that there's that big gap that nobody's playing with fullbacks anymore, I'm just going to go straight in there.
I love that. He's literally set it up. Let's get them all to put their fullbacks in the middle of the pitch.
Wait till he plays Liverpool.
Yeah. Maybe this will be, we'll see. I'd love to see a Pep team again with 2 wide Doku players, like the Sterling Sane combination we saw a bit of. And look, I would love, this was never really done by Pep, but maybe we'll go back to a time where we see the 2 wide men and 2 forwards, a little man, big man up top. I really want to see again, and I'm sure it will come one day, surely.
We'll get there.
Let's do some very quick fire questions, guys. Get them in. Thanks for all your questions throughout the show. We haven't been able to answer many, of course, but hopefully in the chat you've been discussing between yourselves. But we do take a few now. It's the end of the show, so we'll do a couple of quick fire ones. I'll start with Down Under. Could you look at replacing Mabama for playing forward and then burn a transfer in terms of my team? I don't have any money in the bank, though, so I would have to use 2 transfers to replace Mabama. And I like a dead spot. I like that third dead spot. So, no, I think he's going to stay.
Yeah, Cortex, I've answered your question in the chat, but I'll ask you anyway. Son to Saka, is that good or bad?
No, I'd stick with. I think that's chasing the fixture. I do think you should get an Arsenal midfielder in, but it doesn't have to be Saka. You can maybe go Martinelli if it means not selling Son for this game.
I'd said that too. I didn't think that was advisable. Would you consider more than one Arsenal attacker given their offensive struggles? I mean, they're not going to continue to struggle offensively, are they? I think that's what we have to bear in mind. Like, look at what Arsenal have available to them. There was some really interesting comments from Rob Holding recently. He was talking about like what he experienced under Arteta, and he was like, I've been in football my whole life, and Arteta came in, and suddenly he's seeing things and telling me things I've never heard before in my life. He is seeing football differently to anyone else, and Arsenal going to attack differently to anybody else has ever done, basically. And I was reading it. I was like, do you know what? Like, you have to take this seriously, because, like, whether or not you respect Rob Holding as an actual footballer, like, he still played in the Premier League. It's almost impossible to do that. So he's been that good, and he's seen a lot of stuff. If he's saying that like Arteta has got something special, and this Arsenal group 100% are committed to it, then trust that those goals will come.
Yeah, and they're flat track bullies. Like they beat Bournemouth big earlier this season. They beat Sheffield United big earlier this season. It's Burnley at the Emirates. Expect a big scoreline. Although you're right, they have been poor in general this season in front of goal for their standards, but against weak opposition, I expect them to blow them away. Gabriel in for Cash for -4. Cash will be fine, I think. I don't mind that move in a couple of weeks, but I'd keep Cash for his next few plum fixtures and then maybe move to an Arsenal defender.
Yeah, but what if you had a best Cash replacement? Who would that be? Oh, we already done this. Eric Dyer.
I'd be keeping Cash because he's fine. Like, waiting if you do need to sell him, then Gabriel is a good option. Arsenal defense is decent.
Maddison to Saka. I mean, obviously, you got Burnley. Yeah, I think that's probably a good place to go. Yeah.
Oh, differentials. I mean, we spoke about Newcastle briefly earlier. Like, I think Gordon's still a very good pick, and Cole Palmer. Like, they still feel like differentials.
Cole Palmer still, like, the fact obviously he stepped up to take that pen. He's got something about him in his head, and he's clearly so strong-minded, isn't he? Like, to be this young and this self-confident is something special that Cole Palmer's got. He's playing all the time. Like, at that price, I think he's a great differential still.
Plays his old team as well. Guys, Mabama is 4.3 million. There's no other forward in the game at 4.3 million other than Osula at Sheffield United, who doesn't play. He started the first 3 game weeks, hasn't played since. So, yeah, no options.
Yeah, absolutely. Hazel says, ditch Haaland, or have I missed the train? It's never a wise decision, Hazel, to ditch Haaland. Like, I'm not going to ever recommend that somebody does that, to be honest. Like, if he actually is injured right now, then yeah, we could start to look at that. But I genuinely think that's the only time you can afford to actually offload Haaland and be good at this game. I think it's a very brave person that does that.
Don't take too much notice of the flags on the FPL site, guys. Loads of questions about Cash and Haaland, just because they're yellow flagged. They're rumoured both to be fine, and Haaland's been pictured in training ahead of young boys. And they both play midweek, which not only means we get to see if they make the bench or starting 11, like have they travelled, are they fit, but we'll also get more press conferences from the managers where they'll be asked about 2 of their best players. So don't worry about the FPL site for flags. Worth taking out Cash and Maddison from -4. Oh, we've just answered that with Cash. Maddison, you can sell.
Yeah, no need on the Cash. Simicast sell now. No, we don't think so. Obviously, like a strange one of the Liverpool setup at the moment, but stick with it for now because we don't believe that this is going to continue.
Yeah. Oh, FPL Freddie, one of my squad members. Dan Burn to Maguire. Yeah, I don't mind that. Although I'd be tempted to stick within the Newcastle defence and go like Lascelles or Livramento and save. But Maguire is 4.2. Will he keep many clean sheets in the next few? I'm not sure. It's a good fixture this week, Freddie, but then moving forward, he's got a couple of tricky ones. Oh, you've got to sell Rashford, though, haven't you, Dean, if you own him?
Yeah, I mean, Rashford, it makes no sense to keep at this moment in time. We don't know if he's playing. We don't know if he's injured. We don't know what his mindset is. We haven't seen anything like the peak version of Marcus Rashford. We said at the top of the show, or I did anyway, I do believe in, after watching Bruno at the weekend, on an eye test, I still trust him. Obviously, Rashford didn't play in that one, but let's see. Like Rashford, he might be like, there's an international break coming up. Maybe Rashford comes to life in that again. Like England play Malta and someone else. Like Rashford comes out of that with a few goals. Maybe he's a different person by the time we get to Christmas.
Yeah, time to sell. And look, if you want a short-term punt, go to the Arsenal midfield and just back that they batter Burnley, which I think they probably will. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Go and watch the last hour if you're just tuning in. We've loved your chat. There's been loads of new faces in the chat. So I've seen like Dylan and Epsy even just now, Nicholas. If you're not already subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. What we could even do, I've noticed you can do on your chat a subscribers only chat. So during the show, to add to the chat, you've got to be subscribed. Maybe we'll do that in future, just to see, just to be like, oh, okay, that's a reason to hit that button.
Oh, I do like that.
Yeah, I started doing it on my channel, and I couldn't find the setting in YouTube when I streamed last Saturday or Friday to do it, and I was like, I actually think this is quite a good thing to do. So I found it once and then never found it again.
Oh, it does make sense though, because it would keep out people from just trolling, really.
Yeah, and then if you want to add, you literally can just go subscribe, and then 3 seconds later you can add to the chat.
I like it.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that on Friday. Guys, we'll be back on Friday, me and Dean. We'll see Dean's wildcard. We'll do the chaser team. We'll talk captaincy. And on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, same time as today, midday, it's me and big man Backer. Chasing Green Arrows is your home of FPL. For now, he's been Dean, I've been Janny, and we've been Chasing Green Arrows.